The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with silent tension. Dr. Keviltor adjusted the translation node embedded in his throat and reviewed the sensor data once more. Across the table, high-ranking officials from 7 star systems observed him through layers of transparent alloy. No one dared speak first. He cleared his throat. "We have one uncharted Class M planet remaining on the edge of the Orion Spur. Sector B-1327. A sharp intake of breath. Even the automated recorders paused briefly. An older member leaned forward. "Earth." Keviltor nodded. "All probes lost. All contact severed. All expeditions failed or presumed dead. Yet you want to go? I believe the data is outdated. Earth is an anomaly we have not studied in over 400 standard cycles. What we know may be mythologized." Another pause, then laughter. Not the kind bred from humor, but discomfort. Someone muttered, "Let him try. Let the planet judge him." The decision was made. Keviltor's ship, the Echelon Whisper, broke orbit within 3 cycles and entered cloaked descent around the blue and green sphere marked with warning glyphs in every known tongue. As he pierced the upper atmosphere, scanners screamed with life readings. Not thousands, not millions, billions. He recalibrated the sensor suite 3 times before accepting the truth. Biosignatures, mammals, reptiles, insects, registered with aggressive markers, classed as apex. Yet none dominated. None controlled the biosphere. It was an ecosystem in total balance. Asterisk, asterisk, and yet completely ruled. Asterisk, asterisk. He observed from low orbit. Herds of bison crossed wide plains. Packs of wolves patrolled snow-covered forests. Sharks prowled the coasts. Bears roamed valleys. Predators of every design flourished here. None eradicated. And still, the dominant life form numbered in the billions. Cities thrived. Oceans were traversed. Mountains climbed. Skies conquered. The apex predators had not been defeated. They had been tamed. Keviltor's voice log trembled as he recorded, "Initial hypothesis disproven. Earth is not a Class M anomaly. It is a containment zone for a species that evolved past the apex classification." A transmission from a ground-based signal tower caught his attention. It was a cooking show. The host, smiling, held a roasted leg of something long and reptilian. "Alligator," the host beamed. "Tastes just like chicken." He blinked, unsure if the translation was accurate. Replaying audio, confirmed, "Alligator." The human smiled and passed the meat to children. He changed the channel. A documentary. A group of shirtless humans tracked a tiger, not to kill in defense, but to sedate and study. The narrator explained this was part of a conservation effort. He changed the channel again. Another human held up a venomous snake and explained how to milk its fangs. Keviltor closed the feed. They do not just survive predators. They catalog them, farm them, eat them, laugh in their faces. From high orbit, he zoomed in on a northern region. Bears rummaged through waste bins beside a human home. The humans ignored them, too busy preparing a grill. Smoke rose from the yard. He enhanced the image. Steaks. From something labeled bison and boar. His blood chilled. Not only had humanity claimed Earth, it had placed everything else on the menu. The ship's AI whispered, "Predator hierarchy. Revised. Top-tier classification, Homo sapiens." He stared down at the swirling planet beneath him. A world where monsters were meals. Dr. Keviltor initiated a descent protocol, deploying a camouflage drone cluster across various human habitats. His curiosity was no longer academic, it was cautious, bordering on fear. The humans didn't behave like apex predators. They behaved like beings who'd surpassed that designation. Predators stalk, fight, survive. Humans engineered control. They wove danger into culture, into cuisine, into recreation. A feed from Drone 3 displayed a domestic scene in what the system labeled as Texas. A family stood around a smoking grill in their backyard. 2 adults, 3 juveniles. Keviltor noted the slabs of meat rotating over open flame. Audio filters picked up casual conversation. "And this here's rattlesnake. Marinated overnight. Got it fresh last weekend. The juveniles cheered. One, barely in adolescence, waved a stick at a passing insect, then turned back to the meat with bright eyes. They enjoy consuming venomous organisms, Keveltor muttered into his log, not in desperation, as delicacy. Across the street, another home. A man returned from a hunt with a large creature slung over his vehicle. 4 legs, sharp tusks. Boar, his neighbor called out. You bagged that by yourself? Bow and knife, the man replied. Tracked it for a mile. The drone scanned the human's biology. Elevated heart rate, mild adrenaline spike, but no signs of fear, just pride. Keveltor redirected to a different region. Frozen forests marked Canada. A human family stepped from a truck and began assembling a campsite. Snow on the ground, bear tracks nearby. The drone watched silently as they set up tents, chopped wood, and prepared rations. One of the juveniles pointed excitedly at a distant movement. The adult calmly reached for a flare, not a weapon. They do not flee, Keveltor whispered. They exist beside danger without submission. In the evening, the family sat around firelight, passing meat between them, labeled packets. Elk jerky, bison sausage, moose steak. The drone moved again. Deep ocean. Divers dropped into the water near a coral reef. Great white shark detected 400 meters out. The humans swam freely. One had a camera. Another carried only a thin rod. The shark approached, and they adjusted their positioning, but did not flee. The footage captured their laughter through audio comms. A diver extended a hand as the shark veered away. Respectful distance, one said. We're just guests. Keveltor froze. Guests, he repeated. On a world they dominate. His sensors detected no apex competitors to humanity, not because they had none, but because humans refused to fear them. They respected predators, studied them, but were never below them. He switched to a culinary archive. Humans preparing dishes made from lion, ostrich, python, kangaroo. Each meal was a cultural badge, not just sustenance. These weren't necessities. They were experiences. Final footage. A survival instructor roasting a tarantula, then smiling into the camera. Crispy. Not bad. Keveltor turned away. Conclusion, he dictated. This species does not conquer through war or dominance alone. They absorb the apex into their customs, reduce threat to familiarity, and consume fear until it is flavor. Earth wasn't a wild world. It was a kitchen, and everything else was an ingredient. Keveltor activated the biological analysis module and fed it human DNA sequences gathered from public medical databases. The results came back fragmented at first. The code twisted in unusual ways, redundancies, self-repair protocols, and unpredictable mutations. Their genome was a battlefield, full of scars from plagues, toxins, famines, and war. And yet, it thrived. He reran the data. There it was again. High adaptability, elevated stress tolerance, and an emotional structure wired not for avoidance, but for confrontation. Humans didn't flee from fear. They leaned into it. Their hormonal responses were aggressive, often laced with excitement and determination. Their pain response dulled in conflict. Cortisol levels dropped when faced with danger. Their very biology encouraged survival not just in spite of fear, but because of it. He expanded the scope. Their planetary history revealed something worse. Humans had survived multiple extinction events. They endured ice ages, supervolcanoes, meteor impacts, and self-inflicted nuclear threats. Each time, they didn't just recover, they advanced. One set of data highlighted their migratory spread. Within a few thousand cycles, they had populated deserts, Arctic tundras, high-altitude mountain ranges, and deep jungles. Asterisk asterisk without evolving differently. Asterisk asterisk they modified the environment, not themselves. Other species adapted through slow biological change. Humans adapted through thought, tools, and sheer stubbornness. He paused the feed and pulled up military records, historical footage, exploration logs. The patterns repeated. Humans venturing into death zones not to escape, but to conquer. They scaled the highest mountains for prestige. Dove into trenches where no light existed. walked through radioactive ruins to recover knowledge. When warned to avoid danger, they deliberately stepped into it. He watched a series of clips, one human running an ultramarathon through the Sahara, another amputee climbing a vertical ice wall with custom gear, a deep-sea diver filming creatures in pitch-black caverns with no backup crew. They didn't just endure extremes. They sought them. In a quiet whisper, Keviltor logged, "They are not merely survivors. They are willing adversaries of nature itself." But the turning point came when he discovered a subculture known as extreme cuisine. He watched, horrified, as humans ate raw scorpions, fermented sharks, live octopus, and roasted centipedes. A smiling chef explained how to neutralize deadly toxins in fugu fish before slicing it into paper-thin sashimi. One mistake meant death, yet restaurants served it daily. A cooking show ended with this line, "Danger makes the flavor better." He realized then human risk wasn't accidental. It was a drug, a cultural ritual, a challenge to the natural order. In one clip, a man allowed a bullet ant to sting him, screaming in agony while explaining its neurological effects for the camera. Not for protection, not for necessity, for curiosity. Keviltor leaned back, breath shallow. The analysis was complete. No other known species in the galaxy demonstrated such a voluntary relationship with suffering. Pain was not a warning, it was a test. His final line for the report, "They are not a part of nature, they are its rival, and every predator Earth has produced was simply a training partner." Keviltor stood in the observation bay of the Echelon Whisper, staring down at Earth as it rotated beneath him, lush and blue, hiding its truths behind a mask of beauty. He had seen enough, but the Council would never accept anecdote, they required evidence. So he decided to make contact covertly. He selected an isolated settlement in the northern continent. Minimal defense systems, small population, nightfall approaching. His shuttle landed under stealth cover. His exoform, a humanoid disguise crafted to mimic local features, activated. Biological scent markers, thermal output, facial structure, all precisely tuned to human tolerances. He walked into the nearest gathering point, a local establishment labeled Hunter's Lodge. The walls were lined with taxidermied animals. Bears, cougars, wolves, even a crocodile. Above the bar, a massive moose head loomed like a sentinel. No one flinched at the sight of him. They offered nods, grunts, and one raised a hand in greeting. He sat at the counter. A man beside him, flannel shirt and scarred from shoulder to knuckle, offered a drink. Keviltor declined. "You hunt?" the man asked. In a manner of speaking, the bartender brought over a platter of smoked meats. "Try the sampler. Elk, venison, gator, rattlesnake." Keviltor hesitated, then picked up a strip of meat. Chewed, salty, slightly sweet, no toxins. The man chuckled. "Didn't peg you for a first-timer." Keviltor nodded slowly. "You consume predators?" "All the time," the man said. "Tastes better when it can kill you back." Another man joined in, slapping a bloodied bandage on his arm. "Got bit by a hog this morning. Mean bastard." Still smoked his ribs, though. Laughter erupted around the room. Keviltor scanned the room. No fear, no hesitation. Every human here bore scars, some visible, some psychological. They didn't hide them. They shared them, compared them, honored them. A trophy wall caught his eye. Photos of children posing beside bears, fish taller than themselves, wild cats strapped to the backs of pickup trucks. Generations raised not to avoid apex predators, but to treat them as challenges, meals, even playthings. He left the lodge at midnight and walked alone into the nearby woods. He activated his comlink and began final transmission. They live among apex predators, not as equals, but as consumers. Fear is domesticated. Danger is dissected. Pain is recreational. Death is mocked. Their young are trained to confront teeth and claws before they can even read. This species does not dominate the food chain. It erases it and writes a new one, with themselves at the center. A wolf howled in the distance. Keviltor turned his head. No weapon. No panic. He spoke again. To other species, apex predators are the limit of life's evolutionary path. To humans, they are appetizers. He paused, looked up at the stars. Recommend immediate reclassification. Humanity is not prey, not predator, not anomaly. Asterisk asterisk, they are the variable. The storm, the final stage in the food chain because they aren't a part of it. They built it and then chose to eat everything in it. He closed the report. Mission complete. Earth didn't need defending. It was the warning.